Hey Sneak Peekers, I'm Eli, and we are here at the red carpet for Fantastic Fest 2024, where we'll be meeting Liam O'Brien, Marisha Ray, and Travis Willingham, producers and voice actors for Vox Machina. A lot of fans of the show know that there's many great moments coming in the upcoming arc. Did seeing them animated live up to how you saw them in your head while you were playing the campaign?
Oh, more so. I think more than lived up to our what was the we call them the mental movies in our head. We try and write scripts based off of the campaign that we think will be unproducible or unanimatable, and luckily our amazing partners at Titmouse blow us away every time. They usually look at us and go, "Oh yeah, bet, big deal." But there was actually a big moment in season 3 of the culmination of this Chroma Conclave arc, where everybody has to gather together to try and take down Thordak, and that was a big animation challenge. But we're super pleased with the result.
Yeah, sometimes they got right to where I imagined them, but the beauty is that we have such incredible partners at Titmouse that oftentimes it surpassed what I could even ever have imagined. Like, just shot for shot, every background is full of so much love, and there's Easter eggs everywhere. So, like, freeze frame your way through on a second viewing, and you will find stuff everywhere. Get ready to go on a trip.
I would say it lived up to any and all expectations tenfold. Like, we all have our own headcanon and our own shared imagination, but our partners and all of the animators and artists over at Titmouse are just so incredible in the scale to which they draw things, to which they draw the environments, to which the action happens. It's so grand. Like, it's hard to really comprehend it until you're looking at it. I mean, they crush it. It's incredible.
Which character in this upcoming season has your favorite arc that you just love seeing?
I'm gonna give you two answers. I think that we're really fond of what we've done with Pike this season, because if you followed the campaign, you know that Ashley Johnson was away in New York for large stretches of this, so we have sort of come up with new ways to integrate her into the story and given her some amazing story beats this campaign. That said, I also love my twins' arc through this season. Vex's arc, everything she has to cope with, face, and overcome. She's beautifully done with Laura Bailey, who's not too bad an actor.
Oh boy, that's a great question. Grog is always looking for a sandwich, which I think is very, very important. But I think where we see Pike go is going to set up the story, I think, in interesting ways for future seasons, so I'll say Pike.
I'm going to say Pike. Sweet little Pikey. Speaking of people who are a little bit unsure of themselves, Pike is also a part of that fan club. And she has a decent amount of questions with her faith and what that means to her role in Vox Machina and Exandria as a whole. It's real good. I don't want to spoil anything, but I just love Pike. I love Ashley Johnson so much. She absolutely crushes it. And yeah, there's some fun twists to Pike.
In the trailer for season 3, we see some development of Keyleth and Vax's relationship. But how does Vax's duty to the Matron of Wraithens stifle this, as well as his other relationships?
That's the rub, isn't it? Plus, they have so much going on. There is not a lot of leisure time for these people to chill with each other. He does manage to grab a little bit of happiness in different ways, and I don't want to elaborate because it would spoil things. It's just a good lesson about life to grab happiness when you can, because life is fleeting as it is.
I know in the last season, Vax's purpose was very clear as mud to him at that point. So in this upcoming season, is Vax accepting of his role, or is he really trying to fight it and make sure he's there for his friends?
Yeah, it is his eternal struggle. You'll see him become more... it's sort of a story of acceptance, so he becomes more acclimated to it. He still has plenty of questions, but with everything that's going on in Exandria, he understands the value and the necessity of what they're doing, and he becomes more accepting of his deal with the matron. He does, however, start to see how it causes friction with a life, with his life. So he's trying to deal with dragons, he's trying to deal with a love life, he's trying to deal with the god of death, and it's hard to juggle the three balls.
In the opening sequence for season 3, we see a shot of Keyleth walking by herself. Does this have something to do with her Aramente? Is it more of like a state of mind? What's happening here?
Yeah, that's a great question, and very astute fans like yourself will kind of have a little bit more insight into that creative choice, especially if you watch the campaign. Keyleth in season 1, no spoilers if you haven't seen it, but in season 1 she kind of confides in Percy as well as Vax in later seasons about marching to this destiny of becoming a leader for the Ashari people through her Aramente, and through that journey, if she is successful, will extend her life. So much of Keyleth's deep-seated internal fears is that she's gonna watch all of her friends die. At least that is a massive fear of hers. So some of that kind of manifests in very subtle ways, and that's, once again, no spoilers, I don't want to say anything else, but there are many moments in that opening title sequence that isn't necessarily meant to be literal of what's to come, but kind of a reflection of the deep anxieties that a lot of the characters hold.
In this posted preview, we see the party in what appears to be Ank'Harel, but more importantly, we see a bit of Ripley. Does that mean she's coming back into play?
If we see a little bit of Ripley, it must mean that she's coming back into our orbit. I mean, since we see Ank'Harel, there's a chance that she's out for something that'll help her in this season. And I guarantee that if Ripley's out there, then Percy won't be able to rest until that has been handled.
Speaking of Percy, and a lot of the promotional material, we see a lot of Vax and Keyleth's relationship growing, but are we going to see anything for Vex and Percy?
Vex and Percy, are they a relationship? I don't know if that's a pairing. Is that like a fan thing? Anything can happen in season 3. I would say all bets are off. The temperature is definitely getting hotter in the season, and it's probably not just Thordak, so I guess fans will just have to tune in and find out.
In the last season, we saw some sort of animosity between Vax and Percy, considering what happened. How does Vax feel about Percy in this upcoming season?
Well, I mean, you will see the evolution of that for sure in season 3. Everything that went down with Percy and his sister happened at the beginning of season 2, and by the end of it, they had gone through some shit together. So, when you suffer trauma or you go through hard knocks together, that can kind of bond people together. So I'm sure those were some good first steps at the end of season 2. We'll see where they go in this season coming up.
In the last season, we saw Keyleth become a bit more confident, but and also in the trailer for the season, we hear her say, "I'm ready to die for the people I love." But she is still struggling a bit with her confidence, but we all know actions speak louder than words. So we see some actions that display more of her confidence?
100%. I think so much of Keyleth's journey is having to believe in herself. I think a lot of her teammates believe in her, but she also has to trust herself as much as everybody else does. And a lot of that is stepping up, trusting her gut, and making actions accordingly, even if other people are unsure. So, she has some big girl moments.
In other interviews, we saw that Pike might be getting more play in this season, and of course, we know Pike can't go anywhere without her best buddy, Grog. So how is Grog going to support her in this upcoming arc of hers?
It's a great question. I think after season 2, we saw a lot of Grog's backstory, where he came from with the Herd of Storms and kind of what makes him tick, how Pike and he came together. And one of the nice things about season 3 is it's where we start to see a little bit more of an involvement from Pike Whereas in our live stream campaign, Ashley was kind of in and out of the campaign because she was doing a show in New York at the time. So we're weaving her into the story in a more involved way. And I think particularly for season 3, Grog is actually going to be the one trying to take care of Pike instead of vice versa, where Pike is healing or taking care of her friend. So there's that symbiosis to their relationship that we'll see.
How confident is Keyleth throughout this journey? Is she determined to help her friends, determined to save everyone? Does it sort of go around all over the place? What's going on there?
I think it's easy to have your confidence shaken when you are fighting not 1, not 2, but 3 ancient dragons. So of course there's going to be a little bit of questioning there, but as you already pointed out, her little tagline in the trailer that we released of her being willing to die for the people she loves, I think she has just that such strong conviction that she knows Vox Machina are the most competent and capable people to be dealing with this problem. And so that is a deep responsibility that she feels on, like, in her DNA. So even if it means that they're going to fail, even if it means there are consequences, to her, not trying is a fate worse than death. So, yeah.
So with all this talk about ships and all the promotional material, we're wondering, when is Grog going to find love?
Yeah. You know, Grog is a self-fulfilled man. You don't actually need love to be complete. Grog is like Joey from Friends. Everybody pairs up except for him. He's just he's too intense to be held down. I don't know. I imagine if there was anyone unfortunate enough to find themselves with Grog, that would be a fiery and fast relationship.
Easy, fellas. I know it seems bad, but we're not here to cause trouble.
We're not? That don't sound like us.
Thanks for watching, Sneak Peekers. For more content, click the screen and make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns, baby, but also horn frogs.
Sneak peek.